Imagine a world where humanity is not at the top of the food chain, where our cities offer no protection, where our technology means nothing against the raw force of nature's perfect design. This isn't science fiction. For millions of years, such a world existed, and ruling over it was a creature so powerful, so perfectly engineered for destruction that even today, 65 million years after its extinction, its very name sends shivers down our spines. This is the story of Tyrannosaurus rex, the tyrant lizard king. Earth's true apex predator, a planet born in violence. The Earth of the Late Cretaceous period was a world almost unrecognizable to modern eyes. This was 68 to 66 million years ago, a time when our planet pulsed with a primal energy we can barely comprehend today. The air itself was different.
Oxygen levels fluctuated wildly.
Atmospheric pressure was higher. The climate was warmer, more humid, more intense. There were no polar ice caps. The oceans were higher. And the land was a tapestry of dense forests, sprawling plains, and volcanic badlands that stretched across continents we wouldn't recognize. This was not a gentle world. The Cretaceous period represented the culmination of the age of reptiles, a 165 million year dynasty during which dinosaurs dominated every terrestrial ecosystem on Earth, from the smallest feathered predators to the largest plant-eating giants ever to walk the planet. This was an era defined by scale, by competition, and by violence. In what we now call Western North America, the ancient landmass known as Larimedia, conditions were perfect for the evolution of megafauna. This narrow strip of land, separated from Eastern North America by a vast inland sea, became an evolutionary pressure cooker. Resources were abundant but contested. Competition was fierce, and in this crucible of survival, nature began crafting its masterpiece. The ecosystems of Larimedia were complex, multi-layered dramas of life and death. Massive herds, Triceratops, three-horned giants weighing up to 10 tons, roamed the lowland plains, their elaborate frills and horns, testifying to millions of years of evolutionary arms races with predators. Edmontosaurus, the duck-billed herosaurs, gathered in herds thousands strong, their only defense being numbers and vigilance. Ankylosaurus, living tanks covered in bony armor and wielding tail clubs capable of shattering bone, grazed in the undergrowth. And watching them all, with eyes that could spot movement from hundreds of meters away, was the tyrant, engineering the perfect killer. To understand what made Tyrannosaurus rex the ultimate apex predator requires us to examine its anatomy in detail, because every aspect of this creature, from its massive skull to its powerful legs to its diminutive arms, represented evolutionary refinement honed over millions of years. Let's start with size, because size matters in the predator-prey dynamic. An adult Tyrannosaurus rex measured approximately 12 to 13 meters. In length, that's roughly 40 feet, or the length of a school bus. From ground to hip, it stood about 4 meters tall. When it raised its massive head, it could reach heights of 5.5 to 6 meters tall, enough to peer into a second-story window. Weight estimates have been refined over decades of research. Modern analysis suggests an average adult T-Rex weighed between 8 and 9 metric tons, that's 17,000 to 20,000 pounds. Some exceptional individuals may have exceeded 10 tons. To put this in perspective, that's heavier than a modern African elephant, concentrated into a body built not for grazing, but for killing. But size alone doesn't make an apex predator. What made T-Rex exceptional was how that mass was distributed and utilized. The skull of Tyrannosaurus rex was a marvel of biomechanical engineering, measuring up to 1.5 meters in length and weighing up to 600 pounds. It was the largest skull of any terrestrial predator that has ever lived. But it wasn't just big, it was specifically designed to deliver and withstand catastrophic forces. Unlike the blade-like teeth of earlier predators, T-Rex teeth were thick, conical, and serrated. They ranged from 15 to 30 centimeters in length, with the longest teeth at the back of the jaw, where leverage was greatest, capable of puncturing through bone. These weren't precision instruments, they were demolition tools. Bite force studies using computer modeling, muscle attachment analysis, and fossilized bite marks have revealed something extraordinary. Tyrannosaurus rex possessed the strongest bite force of any terrestrial animal ever discovered, between 35,000 and 57,000 newtons of force, depending on the study. To put that in human terms, that's roughly 8,000 to 12,000 pounds of pressure. What does that actually mean? It means T-Rex could bite through a car door. It means it could crush the vertebrae of another dinosaur, like you might crush a pretzel. It means that once those jaws closed on prey, bones shattered, organs ruptured, and death was almost instantaneous. Fossilized Triceratops bones show the evidence. Puncture marks that penetrate completely through the frill bone, that's 3 inches thick. Edmontosaurus tail vertebrae with T-Rex tooth marks that show healing, meaning the hadrosaur survived an attack, but lived with broken bones that fused back together. Even other Rex skeletons show evidence of bite marks, suggesting that these apex predators fought each other with the same devastating force they used on prey. But here's what truly separated T-Rex from other large predators. It didn't just bite hard. It had the jaw strength to hold struggling prey weighing several tons while simultaneously tearing away massive chunks of flesh. Those banana-shaped teeth weren't designed to slice cleanly. They were designed to grip, crush, and rip. Maximum tissue damage with every bite. The senses of a super predator. For decades, popular culture portrayed Tyrannosaurus rex as a dim-witted brute, powerful but primitive, relying on brute force rather than intelligence. Modern science has completely demolished this myth. Analysis of T-Rex brain cavities reveals something remarkable. This predator had one of the largest brain-to-body ratios of any dinosaur. Its brain weighed approximately 400 grams and had a structure remarkably sophisticated for a reptile. The olfactory bulbs, the portions of the brain responsible for processing smell, were exceptionally large. This suggests T-Rex had an extraordinary sense of smell, possibly comparable to modern vultures, which can detect carrion from miles away. It could have tracked wounded prey across vast distances, followed scent trail days old, and detected competitors or potential mates from great distances. But smell was just the beginning. The orbits of T-Rex, the eye sockets, were positioned forward-facing on the skull. This wasn't an accident. Forward-facing eyes provide something critical for a predator: binocular vision. This means depth perception, the ability to judge distances precisely, the capacity to track fast-moving prey and coordinate an attack with devastating accuracy. Research comparing T-Rex orbital structure with modern predators suggests its binocular range was approximately 55 degrees better than modern hawks, and far superior to most other dinosaurs. A T-Rex could see you in 3 dimensions from over a kilometer away. It could judge your distance, your speed, and the precise moment to attack. And once it saw you, there was something else in its favor: visual acuity. The size and structure of T-Rex eye sockets suggest eyes approximately 13 centimeters in diameter, roughly the size of a grapefruit, and one of the largest eyes of any land animal ever. Larger eyes gather more light and resolve finer detail. A T-Rex could spot movement in near darkness. It could hunt at dawn and dusk, when prey was most active and vulnerable. Then there was hearing. The inner ear structure preserved in fossil skulls shows that T-Rex could detect low-frequency sounds, the kind that travel long distances through dense forests and across open plains. The rumble of a herd on the move, the distress call of an injured animal, the warning stomp of a rival T-Rex entering its territory. This was not a mindless killing machine. This was a sophisticated sensory hunter equipped with detection systems that would make modern predators envious. Built for the hunt. How did a creature weighing up to 10 tons actually hunt? How did it move? How fast could it run? These questions have driven decades of scientific debate, and the answers reveal something unexpected. Look at the legs of Tyrannosaurus rex and you see evolution's solution to a fundamental problem: how to make a multi-ton predator mobile enough to hunt. The legs were massive, pillar-like structures built from bone and muscle, but they weren't clunky. The upper leg bones, the femur and tibia, were long relative to body size, suggesting a stride length of 4 to 5 meters. The feet were digitigrade, meaning T-Rex walked on its toes like modern birds, not flat-footed like elephants. This design is more efficient for locomotion and better suited for quick movements. Recent biomechanical studies using computer modeling have refined our understanding of T-Rex movement, while older estimates suggested running speeds of 70 kilometers per hour, speeds that would have torn the animal apart. Modern analysis is more conservative but still impressive. A mature T-Rex could probably achieve speeds of 20 to 27 kilometers per hour, roughly 12 to 17 miles per hour. That doesn't sound fast compared to, say, a cheetah. But remember, this is a creature weighing as much as a loaded dump truck. A running T-Rex generated momentum that could smash through barriers and knock over prey through sheer kinetic force. More importantly, many of its prey animals weren't particularly fast either. Triceratops was bulky and defensive. Edmontosaurus could run, but in a straight line, not maneuverable in dense terrain. Ankylosaurus was practically immobile. T-Rex didn't need to be fast. It needed to be fast enough. And then there's the hunting strategy. Modern research increasingly suggests T-Rex was an ambush predator that supplemented with pursuit when necessary. Its sensory systems would detect prey from a distance. It would stalk closer, using terrain and vegetation for cover. Despite its size, a T-Rex in a Cretaceous forest could be surprisingly stealthy. Then, when close enough, it would launch a devastating charge. One bite to the neck or spine, delivered with over 8,000 pounds of force, and the hunt was over. The prey animal would go into shock, bleed out rapidly, or die instantly from spinal trauma. T-Rex didn't chase its meals for miles. It executed them with clinical precision. Life in the tyrant's world. What was it actually like to live in the world of Tyrannosaurus rex? To understand that, we need to examine the complete ecosystem because apex predators don't exist in isolation. They are the capstone of a complex pyramid of life. The Laurimidian ecosystem was a place of abundance. Flowering plants and angiosperms had recently exploded in diversity, creating rich understory vegetation. Conifers still dominated the canopy, creating forests of redwoods, cypresses, and ancient pines. Ferns carpeted the forest floor. The climate was warm and wet, supporting year-round plant growth. This botanical richness supported massive herbivore populations. The fossil record suggests that hadrosaurs like Edmontosaurus were extraordinarily numerous. Some bone beds contain thousands of individuals that died together, possibly in river crossings or drought events. Ceratopsians like Triceratops were slightly less common but still abundant. These mega herbivores converted plant matter into protein that predators needed. But T. rex wasn't the only predator in this world. Smaller theropods like Acroraptor and Dakotaraptor hunted small prey. Crocodilians lurked in rivers and swamps. Even juvenile T. rexes occupied different ecological niches than adults, like hunting smaller, faster prey that adults couldn't catch efficiently. This created a structured ecosystem with minimal competition. Adult T. rex targeted the largest herbivores, animals weighing several tons that no other predator could safely attack. Smaller predators took smaller prey. Juveniles filled the middle ground. Everyone had a role. And what was life like for T. rex itself? Fossil evidence provides surprising glimpses into their lives. We know they endured incredible hardships. Many specimens show healed fractures, broken ribs, damaged limbs, fractured tails. One famous specimen called Su shows evidence of multiple injuries, including a massive infection in the jaw that likely caused agonizing pain in the animal's final days. We know they fought each other. Bite marks on T. rex bones match the tooth spacing of other T. rexes. Whether these were dominance battles, territorial disputes, or mating competitions, we can only speculate. But the violence was real. We also have evidence of their feeding habits. Coprolites fossilized feces from T. rex contained bone fragments, not just meat, but crushed bone, meaning T. rex was eating through the skeleton itself, extracting every possible calorie from its kills. This wasn't wasteful feeding. This was opportunistic, efficient consumption. And perhaps most fascinating, we have evidence of social behavior. Some fossil sites preserve multiple T. rexes of different ages together. While we can't prove complex social structures, it's increasingly likely that at least some T. rexes maintained family groups or hunting associations. Imagine not one tyrant king, but a dynasty of them cooperating. The reign of the tyrant Tyrannosaurus rex did not appear suddenly. It was the culmination of a long evolutionary lineage, the Tyrannosaur, that had been developing for over 100 million years. The earliest Tyrannosaurs were small, agile predators no larger than a human. Species like Guanlong and Dilong from the Middle Jurassic of China weighed only 50 to 100 kilograms. They were covered in primitive feathers and occupied ecological niches similar to modern foxes or coyotes. Over tens of millions of years, Tyrannosaurs evolved larger body sizes, lost their feathers, or reduced them to display structures, and developed increasingly powerful jaws. Species like Albertosaurus and Gorgosaurus from the Late Cretaceous were already impressive apex predators, reaching lengths of 8 to 9 meters and weights of 2 to 3 tons. But T. rex represented the pinnacle. It appeared in the fossil record approximately 68 million years ago and persisted until the very end of the Cretaceous, the last 2 million years before the extinction event. During this time, it was the undisputed apex predator across a vast geographical range that extended from present-day Montana and Wyoming down through the Dakotas and possibly into Texas. No other large predator challenged its dominance. Fossil sites from this period show T. rex as the only large carnivore present. Other predator species either went extinct or shrank to smaller sizes, occupying different niches where they didn't compete directly with the tyrant. This is the true definition of an apex predator, an animal that restructures entire ecosystems around itself. Prey populations evolved specific defenses. Herbivores grew larger, developed better armor, formed larger herds. The arms race between predator and prey reached its zenith. For 2 million years, an eye blink in geological time, but an eternity in evolutionary terms, T. rex reigned supreme. No predator has dominated North American ecosystems so completely before or since. If the tyrant lived today now, let's engage in a thought experiment. What if Tyrannosaurus rex survived? What if somehow a population of these apex predators existed in the modern world? The implications would be catastrophic. First, consider the physical capability. Modern infrastructure is not designed to resist a 10-ton predator capable of generating 12,000 pounds of bite force. Chain link fences would be demolished. Concrete barriers designed to stop vehicles would crumble. Even military barriers designed to stop tanks would struggle against an animal. That doesn't need to go over or around obstacles, it simply pushes through them. Urban environments would be particularly vulnerable. T. Rex could navigate city streets easily. It's roughly the size of a bus, and we've built our roads to accommodate buses. It could peer into second-story windows. It could tip over cars looking for food. And most terrifyingly, humans would represent ideal prey, slow, soft, nutritious, and abundant. Modern weapons would certainly be effective at range. High-powered rifles, artillery, air strikes, these would neutralize individual T-Rexes. But in close quarters, in dense jungle or urban environments, response time would be measured in seconds. A T-Rex can cover 20 meters in about 3 seconds. That's faster than most humans can react, aim, and fire effectively. Ecologically, the introduction of an apex super predator would devastate existing ecosystems. Modern megafauna elephants, rhinos, buffalo, even hippos would become prey. Predator populations like lions and tigers would be displaced or eliminated. Food chains developed over millions of years would collapse and restructure around this new dominant force. But here's the reality. T-Rex couldn't actually survive in the modern world, not because we'd hunt it to extinction, though we would, but because the world that supported it no longer exists.
The climate is different.
The prey base is different. The oxygen levels are different. The diseases and parasites are different. T-Rex was perfectly adapted to its Cretaceous ecosystem, but that ecosystem is gone. Still, the exercise reminds us of something important. Humans are apex predators by innovation, not by physical dominance. We rule through technology, cooperation, and intelligence. In a fair fight against nature's finest physical predator, we would lose every time. The catastrophe for over 2 million years, Tyrannosaurus Rex ruled unchallenged. Nothing in its environment could threaten it, but evolution had not prepared it for what came next. 66 million years ago, a mountain fell from the sky. The Chicxulub asteroid, a rock, approximately 10 kilometers in diameter, struck the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of 10 billion atomic bombs. The impact created a crater 150 kilometers wide and 20 kilometers deep. The explosion was visible from the other side of the planet. The immediate effects were apocalyptic. Everything within 1,500 kilometers was vaporized instantly. The impact generated an earthquake exceeding magnitude 10, far beyond anything in recorded history. Mega tsunamis hundreds of meters high radiated across the oceans. Molten rock was ejected into space, then rained back down as a global firestorm. But the long-term effects were worse. Trillions of tons of vaporized rock were thrown into the upper atmosphere, creating a dust cloud that encircled the planet. Sunlight was blocked. Temperatures plummeted. Photosynthesis stopped. Plants died within weeks. When the plants died, herbivores starved. When herbivores starved, predators followed. The food chain collapsed from the bottom up, and there was nowhere to hide. T-Rex, master of its domain, apex predator without equal, died because its prey died. Not from violence, not from disease, not from competition, from simple starvation as the world's ecosystem shut down. Fossil evidence from the Hell Creek Formation, one of the best preserved windows into the Late Cretaceous, shows the sudden disappearance of large dinosaurs. Below the KPG boundary layer, the geological marker of the asteroid impact, fossils are abundant. Above it, nothing, just empty rock. Eventually repopulated by small mammals, birds, and other survivors that could subsist on seeds, insects, and detritus. The age of dinosaurs, 165 million years of evolutionary success, ended in less than a century. And with it died the greatest apex predator that ever walked the earth. Legacy and lessons: Tyrannosaurus Rex has been extinct for 66 million years. That's 65 times longer than modern humans have existed. Yet no prehistoric creature captures human imagination quite like the tyrant lizard king. Why? What is it about T-Rex that speaks to us? Perhaps it's because it represents everything humans once feared. Our ancestors, early primates, then hominids, then early humans, spent millions of years as prey. We remember somewhere deep in our evolutionary memory what it means to be hunted. The fear of predators shaped our psychology, our social structures, our very consciousness. T-Rex embodies the ultimate predator, the creature that cannot be reasoned with, cannot be negotiated with, exists solely to hunt and kill. It's the monster from our nightmares, except it was real. But T-Rex also teaches us something profound about nature and survival. Despite its power, despite its perfect adaptation, despite its complete dominance of its ecosystem, it went extinct. Not because of weakness, not because it was poorly designed, but because the environment changed catastrophically and suddenly. This is nature's ultimate lesson. Adaptation is specific, and when environment change faster than species can adapt, even the mighty fall. Modern Earth has apex predators, great white sharks, orcas, polar bears, humans, but none approach the sheer physical dominance of T-Rex. We live in a diminished world, a world where the largest land predators are a fraction of the size that once walked the Earth. Some scientists argue this is because modern ecosystems simply can't support super predators. Prey animals are smaller, less numerous. Primary productivity is lower in many regions. The planet is cooler. Perhaps T-Rex and its kind were products of a warmer, more productive Earth, an Earth that no longer exists. Yet the fossil record shows us what's possible. It shows us that nature, given time and the right conditions, can create monsters. Real monsters, not fantasy creatures, but actual living animals so powerful they seem to defy belief. And it reminds us that we small, soft, slow humans survived in a world where such creatures existed. Our ancestors hid from predators far less impressive than T-Rex. They outsmarted, outlasted, and ultimately outlived the giants. Not through strength, but through cleverness, cooperation, and adaptability. That is our legacy. That is how we became the dominant species on Earth. Not through being the strongest, but through being the smartest. Our world transformed if Tyrannosaurus Rex lived today. Everything would be different. Our cities would be fortresses not just against human threats but against nature itself. Our relationship with the environment would be fundamentally altered. We would once again be prey animals, clever but vulnerable, dominant through technology but fragile in its absence. But T-Rex doesn't live today. We inherited a world without super predators. A world already diminished by the catastrophe that ended the Cretaceous. We emerged into a vacuum left by giants, and we filled that vacuum not with size or strength, but with intelligence. The story of Tyrannosaurus Rex is not just the story of a powerful predator. It's the story of a planet that has been many different things over its long history. A planet that has nurtured life in forms we can barely imagine. A planet that has created and destroyed ecosystems on timescales that dwarf human civilization. And it's a reminder that our current dominance, the reign of humanity, is not guaranteed. We are not the culmination of evolution. We are not the final form. We are simply the current apex species, holding our position through technology and cooperation, living on a planet that has seen countless dominant species rise and fall. The Earth does not belong to the strongest. It never has. It belongs to survivors, adapters, to those who can change as the world changes. Tyrannosaurus Rex was the perfect predator for its world, but when that world ended, perfection meant nothing. We would do well to remember that, because somewhere in deep time, in the fossil record we're creating right now through our own actions, future scientists might study our remains and wonder, what happened to the apex predators of the 21st century? Why did they disappear? And the answer, as always, will be, the world changed, and they could not change fast enough.